Excuse me, Charisse. My shirts were folded wrong again. How many times have I explained how to fold them now? Sorry, Elizabeth. I'll be more careful next time. You've been living here for more than a month now. Don't you think it's about time for you to start figuring out how to do the housework without my supervision? I guess so. I can't seem to keep everything straight. Sorry. Don't just apologize. Show me that you've actually learned something by doing better. You're right. Also, it seems that you've been neglecting some things. What's this about you making Matthew do dishes and clean the bathroom? Matthew is my oldest son. He's the pride of this family. Why would you make him do housework? We always used to split all the housework. You mean this has been going on since before you moved in? Well, Matt is better at a lot of it than I am. Do you think that matters in even the slightest? Just so we're clear, I'd prefer it if you put a stop to that from now on. You know we both work. I don't think Matt shares your ideas about gender roles. That's not what I'm saying to you. I swear there's just no point in talking to you sometimes. I'm sorry you feel that way? You know, if you can't find time to do the housework, maybe you ought to quit your job. Why? Isn't that what you said? You both have work, so that's why you think it's okay to make your husband do your housework. Besides, Riley is only in the 1st grade. Isn't it sad having to put her in daycare? Well, I'd like to save up some money for the future. I like to think of it like I'm working so that we can support Riley, no matter what she decides to do in the future. So I have no plans to quit working. Plus, I like my job. A woman's place is in the home, not at the office. I know that time at home is important, and I'm trying my best not to get in your way. We're not talking about you being a bother right now. Maybe that excuse would have worked for you before, but now we live together. I have allowed you into my family home. Do you understand that? Yes. You think you could do whatever you want just because my husband died? No, of course not. Oh, if he could just see the state of this house right now, he would be spinning in his grave. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Do you know what that means? In this house, the woman's job is to support her husband. You are severely lacking in that department. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm afraid the day I consider you part of the family is still a long way off. If you want to join this family, I suggest you quit your job and focus your efforts on your housework. Of course, I'm sure all of this is just going in one ear and right out the other. I'm really sorry that you find me so disagreeable, Elizabeth. I'm afraid I don't have a job I can just walk away from suddenly. But I'll keep what you said in mind. I guess that's the best I can expect from you. It's my guide, as the matriarch, to instruct you. If only you two had moved in as soon as you were married, and I could have trained you from the start. I guess I only have myself to blame for you being so out of control. I promise I'll do what I can to make you happy. Please see that you do. The road to my heart will be in keeping the trouble from you to an absolute minimum. Sorry to bother you while you're out, Elizabeth. It looks like Riley found your cookie jar. It is yours, right? That's right. Let me guess, she wants some cookies? It would seem so. Do you mind if I give her one? I can pay you back for them later. Of course. Give her a cookie, please. Thanks, Elizabeth. Oh, but only Riley. You can't have any. You're not a member of the family yet in my eyes. Yeah, no problem. I won't eat any of your cookies. Really? I don't want to find out you've been sneaking any. Don't worry, I'm on a diet anyway. Ugh, you're one of those people that gets fat easily, aren't you? You poor thing. Our family is able to maintain a slim figure without too much trouble. Yeah, I know. Riley stays pretty slim no matter what as well. I'm glad she doesn't take after me in that respect. Don't get ahead of yourself. She's still just a child. We have no idea how she'll turn out. She's got your chubby genes in her as well, after all. I guess she does? Anyway, have you thought about what we talked about? What's that? Are you going to give up that silly job and focus on your real work? At home? Oh, that. Matt said it's fine if I keep working. Oh, please. You're already past 30. In just a few more years, it'll get difficult for you to have another child. That's true. Why are you talking like that doesn't affect you? Are you saying you aren't going to have any more children? No, I haven't really thought much about it. But we already have Riley. And what about an heir? An heir? That sounds very archaic. Who is going to continue the family line? Oh, don't tell me you're thinking of letting it end with Matthew. You know, even if I did get pregnant, there's no guarantee we would have a boy. And that's why you need to have another child as soon as possible. Once Riley is married off, the family name is gone. I guess so? But what about Melissa? She has a son. Melissa married into another family. She took her husband's last name, so her son can't possibly take over the family. Is that how it works? Oh, you really haven't given this any thought at all. And yet, you still have the nerve to enter my house? It's a wife's job to provide an heir. Honestly, what have you been doing this whole time? Sorry, I haven't given any thought to that kind of thing. I see. Well, I think that is going to just about exhaust Matthew's affections. I beg your pardon? You heard this morning's conversation, didn't you? I said that I want today's dinner to be family only. Matthew was very receptive. He said that it had been a while, did he not? Oh, you seemed a bit flustered at the time. I take it you understood the implication? Well, I'm afraid it's really impossible to consider someone like you with no proper family values as part of my family. I know that Matthew thinks so as well inside his heart of hearts. Unfortunately for you, I'd say that your time as a married couple may be coming to an end soon. I have to admit, I'd much prefer a new, younger bride around the house. Do you really have to say it like that? You know, I'd really like to get along with you, Elizabeth. You know, considering that you're likely going to find yourself divorced soon, why don't you consider today practice for the future and just eat by your lonesome? The rest of us will enjoy our time together as a family. Matthew, bad news. I know I made it very clear that I was only inviting Melissa and her son to dinner, but it seems she's bringing that husband of hers along as well anyway. Here I thought we were finally going to be able to eat together as a family. What a waste.
That's perfectly fine. You should be thankful that he's coming.
No, it isn't fine. After I went through all the trouble of getting rid of Charisse tonight, too. Wasted. Please come a little early, won't you? What are you doing now?
Oh, I'm not going.
What do you mean? I said we're going to have a family dinner. Why aren't you coming?
Huh? Oh, I'm gonna eat with Charisse, of course.
Excuse me. Why would you eat with Charisse? What about our plans?
Yeah, actually, I wanted Riley to join us too, but she's having a sleepover at a friend's house. So Charisse and I get to have a date night for once.
But why? You promised that tonight would be a family-only dinner. So why are you eating dinner with Charisse?
Because we're family?
Aren't I your family?
I thought so. But I don't know if I can consider you as part of the family if you won't treat my wife as part of the family.
I don't seem to follow.
I told you when we moved in, didn't I? Charisse and I are a team and share our responsibilities. So I asked you not to try and push all the housework on her. And we never planned on living here. But you messaged me, saying how lonely you were here all by yourself. And it was Charisse who worried about you the most and decided that we should come stay with you. I told you all this from the beginning, specifically, so you couldn't claim that you didn't know.
Well, it's just, I didn't want her to forget her wifely duties, just because she was here living in our home. I was just teaching her the things she needs to know as a wife is all.
Okay, Mom, I think we're out. I never actually even agreed to this in the first place.
What do you mean you're out? Are you saying you're going to abandon me here?
You've been pushing all the housework on Charisse. You've been telling her to quit her job and give us an heir? Who wants to live with someone like that?
She told you that, did she? Ugh, I can't stand people who badmouth others behind their backs.
I wouldn't call it that, considering it's all completely true. And besides, I didn't hear it from Charisse. I heard it from Riley.
What?
She said that you're always bullying Charisse. I can't believe you would do that in front of your granddaughter. Aren't you embarrassed at all?
Well, there it is. That child is definitely her mother's daughter. She's raised quite an impudent little brat.
Hey now, that's my child as well that you're talking about. How can you say something like that?
I never liked Charisse from the beginning. A very plain girl. And she pushes her housework off on the men? I don't think she even realizes she's someone's wife.
This isn't the 50s. Charisse is the most important person in my life.
Maybe if she had at least given you a son. Maybe then I would be able to look at her in a little better light. But here we are. She's totally useless for you, dear. You really have to get rid of her. The best sort of girl for you is the one who wants to stay home and take care of the house.
Who's the useless one? Even though you're still perfectly capable, you don't do anything around the house. We pay all the bills. The only thing you actually do around the house is just bully my wife, it seems.
How dare you say such a thing? After I've sucked up all my pride just to live with that woman.
Nobody asked to live with you. And all this talk about an heir. Since when is our family so special? Grandma herself said our ancestors were just a bunch of loudmouth nobodies from the English countryside. And Dad bought this house. It isn't like it's been in the family for generations or anything.
Are you suggesting that you'd be fine if we lost this house?
It is nice having a place that's been here my whole life, but it's getting old, and the upkeep is becoming a bit of a headache. I don't think it's something we need to hang on to forever, as it becomes more and more of a burden.
You've really changed. Ever since you married that woman, you've changed. She's had a really bad influence on you.
I'm not a child anymore. I'm a father and a husband. So I can't live with you anymore.
I'll pretend that you didn't say that. I can't believe how much of an effect that woman has had on you. It's pathetic.
Excuse me?
You need to think long and hard about who is more important to you, that woman or your own mother. I'll say this clearly. Whoever you choose, you need to be ready to get rid of the other. Are you going to cut off all ties with your mother to live with that woman? Think on it. Oh, and of course, you can kiss your inheritance goodbye if you don't choose me. Hey, Charisse. Matthew has the day off today, right? Do you two have any plans? Matt took Riley to the park. Did he forget his phone at the house? He hasn't responded to my messages. Elizabeth, didn't you two decide not to have any more contact? That is why we moved out after all. Would you mind not messaging like this anymore? He said something to that effect, but I'm an old woman living alone. It's difficult for me if I don't have anyone that I can rely on. Who was it that told him that he needed to choose between the two of us? That was me. Well, he did just as you told him. Well, I never thought he would actually cut off ties. How was I supposed to know things would turn out like this? You thought he would leave me? Well, I am his mother. I carried him in my body for 9 months and suffered to bring him into this world. Who would think a son would betray his own mother like that? You brought him to this, stamping all over his emotions. Everything I did for his sake. I couldn't stand seeing him being forced into doing housework, despite working all day. And what about me? You know that I work too. You're choosing to work, so it's fine. Is that right? I see. You see, I hope by that you mean that you're going to get divorced. Of course not. I can't imagine there's anyone in the world who would do that for you. Then what is it that you see? I see that there's just no way to reason with you, no matter how many times we talk. I thought that living together would give us a chance to get close and build a relationship. I always knew that you didn't approve of me. Then why didn't you just do what I told you? Sure, I could have quit my job and dedicated my life to making my husband and children comfortable. In some ways, that's a very noble life. But Matt and I have different ideas of what a happy life is. And neither me or Riley, or Matt either for that matter, were able to live happily while we were with you. That's why we left. You're really not planning to come back. Not even just Matt and Riley. Will you open your eyes already? How dare you talk to me like this, Charisse?
It's Matt. I just got home. We already agreed that I won't get any inheritance. We're not family anymore, so stop bothering my wife.
Matthew, I was only ever thinking about your happiness.
And like I said, it wasn't necessary. Now you said it yourself. I need to get rid of whoever I didn't choose. Well, I chose Charisse. I didn't choose you.
How are you able to do something as cruel as toss away your own mother?
Maybe because of all the cruel things that you did to my wife? Just hearing about your behavior was mortifying and just sad. And then you still had the nerve to tell me to my face to divorce her and remarry? I have to say I was pretty taken aback. But anyway, for the millionth time, you don't have to worry about me anymore.
What about after I get old? Who's going to look after me?
I think you need to figure that out yourself. If you're going to cut us out of the will, you should probably not rely on us for that. Also, I'm going to block your number as well. Charisse too, of course.
Matthew, please, listen to me. Matt gave me the phone back, Elizabeth. So like he said, please don't message us anymore. Okay, I get it. Fine. You too, Charisse. It's okay if you come back here as well. So please talk some sense into Matthew. Tell him that we can all live together again, just like before. You want me to talk to him? Well, who else is there? Me? Who you've been so cold to this entire time? Me, who you said doesn't count as family? Me, who did all of the housework except when Matt helped me. You know, there was not a single moment where I thought I was glad that we decided to go live with you. So why should I try and convince Matt that we should go back there? Well, didn't you say that you want to get along with me? If that's the case, I think you could do this little thing for me at least. That was while we were still living together. But you don't consider me part of the family. I got that loud and clear, so now I give up. I'm just going to live happily with my own family from now on. Okay, I'll help around the house too. That gives you some reason to live here, right? I think that living with somebody that you don't like is bad for your mental health. I think we both ought to be careful about our mental health. It's no worry for me. In fact, I want to live with you. I'm also worried that living with you again might have some bad effects on Riley. And I can't say that I really want to live with you anymore. No, we're not going to move back in. Please, give up on that idea. Charisse, I've been really lonely since everyone left, so please. I think it's best that you get used to living alone while you're still feeling spry. Because you're going to be alone from here on out. Why don't you consider this practice for the future, before no one will see you anymore? After that, Elizabeth tried to get Matt's sister Melissa to live with her as well. But Melissa had heard from Matt about what Elizabeth had done, as well as Elizabeth not considering Melissa's husband as part of the family either. And so, soon, no one would go visit her anymore. While we were living there, Elizabeth was bragging to all her neighbors who lived by themselves about how her son was there to look after her in her old age. She lorded over all her friends about how she was the happiest person alive, basking in the love of her daughter-in-law and granddaughter alike, until no one wanted to spend time with her anymore. Now I think she's just living all by her lonesome. We didn't move too far away so that Riley wouldn't have to change schools. And we've been living happily, just like before we moved in with Elizabeth. I would have preferred to move even further away from her. But we thought it would just be too sad for Riley to have to give up all the friends she'd made at school just because of her grandmother. Matt and I worked together in dropping Riley off at school and picking her up so that she would never bump into Elizabeth. We still can't let our guard down, but we're still happier now than we were before. There are many different ways for people to find happiness. So I won't say that Elizabeth's way was wrong, but I will say that trying to push her way of thinking onto others was a mistake. From now on, I'm going to trust in my husband, and the two of us are going to work together to raise our daughter. And together, we're all going to work together to build our version of a happy family. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please press the like button. See you next time!